Contractions started last night, but they were really far apart. They were more than half an hour apart, about half an hour apart. So I thought, let me just go to sleep for an hour or two and then, wake up. So I woke up around 4, and they were about 10 minutes apart. So I thought, let me just go, because the first child was pretty quick. Also, not this quick, but it was pretty quick. So I called Rana around 4 and I told her they're 10 minutes apart. We should probably get going. And she said okay. And I said, but they're still 10 minutes apart, so take your time. So
I did.
So she did. So around 4:45, I was ready, and she came and she picked me up. And before that, I called her and I said, they're 4 minutes apart. You should come right away. And that was all within like 10-15 minutes, something like that. It wasn't very long at all before they went from 10 minutes to 4 minutes. So then we get in the car and they're 1 minute apart. So we're driving to U of M at this point, because that's where my doctor is. And she said, "Are you sure you can wait till then?" I said, "Yeah." And then like a minute later, it just got really strong, and I said, "No, just go to Henry Ford." So we headed on 94, back on 94 the other way, and I said, "I feel like he's coming right now." So she called the ambulance, or she called 911, and they said, "If she feels like it's coming, then you should pull over." So we pulled over, and they took her. They told her exactly what to do, and he was ready to come out. And I just had him in the car, and that's it. And then the ambulance was there within a couple minutes after calling them, within a few minutes of calling them.
Rima probably did most of the work, I have to admit. But I was on the phone with the 911 dispatcher who walked me through, told me to pull the seat back to make Rima as comfortable as possible, and find a blanket to wrap him in, to catch him in. But he wasn't even waiting for the blanket. He was ready to come out. He was in a hurry. And so just grabbed him, gave him to Rima, wrapped him up in a blanket, and a few minutes later the EMTs were there to help us, and they were great.
I was terrified only because I was afraid that if he's not breathing, I know they usually suction the baby's mouth and nose. I was afraid that if he wasn't breathing or something, but as soon as he was born, he was crying a little bit, so I knew he was okay. And they told her what to do with the rest. They told her to keep checking him if he's breathing. And the ambulance got there right away anyway, so it was all a minute or two that I was worried until they got there. And once they got there, they got the umbilical cord and wrapped him up and did what they had to do. We have a family member that we named him after who recently passed away, so it was in honor of him. My husband's family.
But it's also a coincidence that Mazen happened in a Mazda.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we'll be telling him that story for years to come, I think.